me how to say ladies and gentlemen in gender-neutral terms.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
Here, no, wait, yeah, there I am. Hey, everybody. Welcome to HIAC. Let me start that over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amber's here. Derek's here. Craig is here. I am here. And that's in order from top to bottom. I'm on the bottom. Cat is at the top. And if my dogs were here, it would be the cats and the dogs together. Mass hysteria. Welcome to HIAC Talk Radio. We've got some things to talk about. We have to do it quickly because Derek has a hard out at a certain time today. He has a hard out, and he said that he wasn't gonna, in our private text, he wasn't gonna fix that because he thought you fellas were more mature than I. No, I'm not, Derek.
I see that.
No.
I see.
Yeah, it went right for the hard joke.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So it's funny you're wearing what do we call them? Do-rags? What are they actually called?
We call them do-rags.
Do-rags, okay. So you're wearing a do-rag, and some other shithead. Let me rephrase that. Some shithead, not other shithead, Derek.
I was about to say, golly.
God damn, Dan. What the fuck did I do to you? Some shithead who shouldn't be wearing a do-rag kind of came out with a do-rag this week. Now, what makes this interesting, Derek, is when all this went down with Tessa Blanchard being rehired with TNA.
I thought you were talking about Hogan making the kids cry at his beer signing. Okay.
What did I miss? You know what? We'll get into that in a second. Hold on. I did not know about that. Yeah. No, I'm talking about the other white bitch in wrestling because Hulk Hogan's the other white bitch in wrestling. See what I did? Tessa Blanchard came out kind of as we discussed and predicted. We thought that maybe, not that it was a good idea, but that Tessa would lean into the whole fact that she's kind of a piece of shit. She did. She leaned into it. She absolutely leaned into it.
Yes.
And she went hardcore. And I'm saying this from the white perspective, not in a good way. You'll understand when I say she dressed like she was from the ghetto, because that expression is an expression people still use in 2025.
Yes.
And not in a way that, like I said, lean in. I was implying that she should lean into the fact that she's an asshole. Like wrestling, it's admitted. Wrestling is an extension. Most wrestling characters an extension of that wrestler. So if you're going to be in wrestling and everybody knows you're an a-hole, lean into the a-hole. She didn't do that.
No.
To steal a line from Jim Cornette, he didn't do any of that.
Nope.
She leaned into her just being a piece of shit. And since I'm the token white guy, I'm going to just sit back. I've presented it. I'm going to bring a picture up while you two guys discuss what the fuck is going on and why this is. Who greenlit this?
Go ahead, dude.
Okay. I don't know. Who thought it was a good idea to bring her back? Who greenlit this thing? I felt bad for. She tag teamed with Cora Jade, and at the end of the match, Cora Jade looked like she'd rather be anywhere else in the world than standing next to her. She's like, but I don't get it. Just like you said, just be a jerk. That's it. That's all you had to do. Was just
lean into it, man.
Who backstage was like, this is a great idea. This is it. We got it, guys. This is the
Terry
one.
Taylor still working here?
Terry Taylor is actually on the WWE. I see him on the A&E LFG show.
Somebody gave him a job still? Okay.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway.
To answer one of your questions, the reason who brought her back to TNA, whoever is in charge of TNA, because they would get more eyes on their product. And especially now that TNA has an agreement with WWE, that will make them one step closer in their eyes to getting Tessa Blanchard on a national scope. So they're looking at this as Tessa Blanchard as this lightning rod, and why don't we turn into this skid, since it's no secret all the bad press she's gotten, and she hasn't denied it, and she certainly hasn't apologized for it. So let's turn it up and let's get more eyes on our product because they're TNA at this point and their long, cockroach-like career because they won't die.
They won't.
Let's get as many eyes on our product as possible, even if there's no such thing as negative press, because if they're talking shit about us, that means they're talking about us. So that's where we're going to ghetto-fy up Tessa Blanchard.
Ugh.
That'll get the internet talking because guess what? We're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, her partner wanted nothing to do with it either because she said, "I don't want to get any on me." I felt bad for her the way I felt bad for Jimmy Hart when Hogan came out and they got booed.
Yeah,
Jimmy Hart's fault. Like Jimmy's getting shrapnel boos.
Poor Jimmy's just waving the American flag.
He's just
like,
waving.
Yay! And everybody's like,
"Come on, guys, it's America. Come on."
Yeah, but on the other hand, he knows what Hogan's like.
He sees what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, is there a future in this? Is this? Can you save this? Like what? Like, what do you do? I mean, I guess you're getting heat, but is it the infamous X-Pac heat? What did I rename that the other day? Did I rename it Tessa Blanchard heat? Is that what I named it?
I feel like you called it Janela Heat, but it could have been
Janela Heat. Janela Heat, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Duke or JD from New York Heat?
That is a different type of heat.
Yeah,
it's the get the fuck out of here heat. There's there's heat like we can't stand you because you're a bad guy heat, like Gunther type heat. But there's like please go away. That's Janela. That's John Moxley. Heat that we're bullied just because we don't want you anywhere near. We don't want you on our TV. We don't want you we don't want to see your matches. We're tired of you. That type of heat.
Yeah.
Poor Cora Jade, man. Poor Cora.
And I know, right? And in terms of the future, like let's look at all the big female names in wrestling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Bianca Belair is going to want to work with her?
Hell no.
No. I don't think Rhea Ripley's going to want to work with her. I don't think Mercedes and TNA. TNA and AEW. I don't think Mercedes would want to work with.
Well, Mercedes will tell her to go fuck herself on mic.
Yeah.
Like Mercedes, and I mean that with all respect and love. Mercedes don't give a shit, and I love that she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, they're not going to work with her. And then you got the females. Let's just say, all right, let's take the top main event women. Maybe Charlotte, maybe. But then you get down to
probably, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get all to the name. You get down once you get past the top. Everybody else are the people who spoke out about it. Chelsea Green, Gigi Dolan, like all those women are the ones who spoke out about it. So, Mi Chen, Mia Yim, who are you going to work with?
Yeah.
No one.
Maybe if she would apologize, what was this, 5 years ago? If she would have apologized and went away to Mexico and rehabbed her whole career, maybe. But like Craig said, she still hasn't said sorry. She just by hiring her
needs to be a pattern.
By hiring her and putting her in a top position, you're telling her you never have to apologize. It's okay what you did, and she's never going to learn.
Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want her on TNA, but
yeah,
you don't like her. No, I don't.
No,
I don't like
nobody
her.
does.
I don't like that she affected so many people and was just like, all right, moving on. I don't like that. No. No. But yeah, I just another thing that occurred to me watching this was like, is it 1998? Like, what? I don't like that was your go-to.
That was
yeah.
Late caricature.
Yeah, late '90s R&B video. Tessa.
Yeah, she's dressed like in Vogue or SWV or one of those ladies. Yeah,
SWV. Yeah.
Where did you get? Who told? Like, once again, I've never been backstage at a wrestling show, but I know you have to pass by producers to get to the Gorilla is what they call it. So she walked in Gorilla and everybody was like,
Yep.
"This is it."
Yeah, everything about her was approved by someone. So it went all the way back. It went to. It reminds me of when going off topic just a little bit. Eddie Murphy got pissed off about David Spade, and David Spade did a joke about Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live. Yes. Eddie wasn't pissed off at David Spade. He's pissed off because he knows what it takes just to get a single joke on the air. That means that went through the writer's room, that went through the Lauren, that went through dress, and then it got on the air. And everybody said, all right, we're good with that. So that's what he was mad at. It wasn't Spade. So with Tessa, it's everything she wore was approved. Everything we're going to go in this direction. Everyone was okay with that. That's the real issue. You brought up in the beginning, who in TNA signed off on that? Apparently everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm trying to find out who's running the show right now at TNA, and I honestly don't know.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Who's the book? Do any of you guys know who the bookers are right now?
Once they got rid of D'Amore, I don't know. And I feel like if Scott D'Amore is there, I feel like he's smart enough to go, this isn't a good idea at all.
No.
I can't even find out. He was replaced by Anthony Ciccone.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is that?
I was about to say, who's that? Who? It's like,
I don't know who this guy is.
It's like, you remember when they were doing Shawn and Triple H had first became DX, and they were trying to get the Hart Foundation to feud with the Nation of Domination. And there was 1 week where somebody vandalized the Nation's locker room.
Right.
And they wrote all this stuff on the wall, and go back to Africa, and all these things were written on the wall. And then the next week the whole thing was completely gone. And I saw an interview, I think it was with Godfather, and they was like, well, what changed, And he goes, Ron walked into Vince's office, and Ron told Vince, cut the shit. And Vince went to the producer and goes, all right, we're dropping it. That's it. We don't want to make Ron any matter. But just the fact that it led up to that, that it made it to TV, like you said with the Eddie Murphy thing, the fact that it was okayed. And we can look at Attitude Era stuff, and there's a bunch of things. There's Goldust coming out with blackface dressed up as a pimp. It's DX doing the whole Nation of Domination thing. It's a lot of things that have happened. But for her, with her past, for somebody to go, all right, Tessa, go ahead. It's disgusting.
I agree.
Okay, so Carlos Silva, no idea, is the president of TNA Wrestling, so all the decisions will go through him. The VP Business Development is Ariel Schreiner. Schreiner? Oh my God. Schnerer. My brain is not processing. Schnerer is head of creative. So those two are the head bookers, and then the only person above them is Leonard Asper, who is the founder, president, CEO of Anthem. So that's Susan. I have
those wrestling people? Yeah,
no,
I'm about to say,
Carlos Silva. I will confirm Carlos Silva is not a wrestling person. I don't know who Ariel Schnerer is. I can't say that fucking name. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I found his LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm not going to put that up here, but all right. So he's an Anthem guy. So you have non-wrestlers doing this right now. It's all non-wrestlers. Well, there you go.
And I almost said, if you're in that company, I almost said Moose. Like, Moose, why would you? But then again, it's fucking Moose, and he's shown where he stands in the Tessa stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't expect him to say anything. But
Moose isn't going to say anything because he can't. Because everyone's going to go, you mean the guy who threw his wife down the stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Moose wants to get hired by the big company. I think he will, but if he keeps his mouth shut and toes the line, he thinks that's going to grease the wheels to him getting to the big time.
Yeah. And if at this moment, this is the most eyes TNA has had on them since Hogan and Bischoff burnt it to the ground. Why would you risk any type of bad publicity?
Yeah.
Like, you're running UBS Arena in a couple months, which is probably the biggest arena they ran in forever. and this is what you want to bring with you. A couple weeks ago, I saw she was coming out to the ring. Yeah, we talked about it, and they were chanting "You are racist," and they were doing, Tessa, we're coming for you. Like that should have been the wake up call right there. Like, all right, let's not
go
do
in the
this.
direction. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, even if they're not wrestling folks, you should get a clue.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
read the
Right.
room.
Yeah. Have some common sense. Yeah.
And let me just say, it's not even about the actual shit she did. It's about that so many people in the business, when she stood up on her high horse, was like, whoa, pump the brakes, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
What about this shit you did to me? And people were like, no, come on back in. She hasn't made, as far as I know, there's been no mea culpa. There's been no, I'm sorry, I'm a piece of shit. It is kind of like the Hogan thing where he was like, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry you guys saw that. Yeah. Not, I'm sorry I did those things. Yeah. I say the N word like the word. Not that.
I'm sorry.
I got caught.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry you had to see me fuck like a fat guy.
On so camera. Bloated. Isn't that what he said? I'm so bloated from the
burritos. Oh man.
But that'd be like
coming from a fat guy.
Tony Hinchcliffe is doing the WWE WrestleMania roast, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he won't go up there and he won't make a Puerto Rican joke, because if somebody like Damien Priest is in the building, he'll rip his head off.
No,
or you have a business relationship with Bad Bunny. You don't want to jeopardize that by having him go up there and say something crazy, because people have common sense there. Although
I'm not defending him, Derek. He is I think he's the least funniest part about Kill Tony.
He is. Oh, without a doubt.
Okay. That being said, he's still a stand-up comedian, and when you tell a stand-up comedian not to do something,
they do it.
They gonna do it. So if they tell him outright not to mention it, that's on him, and maybe he won't get out of there alive. We can only hope. What he is going to mention, which is something he's mentioned at non-wrestling related events for years, is memoir. I don't think Triple H, thought this through.
They did it. They did it. No, not at all. They just saw the headline. There's no way, because once he gets up there with a microphone, you're at his mercy. He can do whatever he wants to do at that point.
It's so fucked. It's so. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Fuck that guy. But part of me is like, I kind of want to see what this. I want to see what happens.
It's got to be televised somewhere.
I want to see what happens. I want to see if he's got the balls, and if some folks are going to be like, Damien's a nice guy.
Yes,
he's a really nice guy. And he's the last person I would want mad at me.
He looks like it.
Yeah.
He looks like it, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Well, good luck.
I tell people, Eddie Kingston, I used to go to the old Evolve shows they had in Queens. And Eddie Kingston is a nice guy. He used to be in the diner. He'd laugh and talk with you, blah, 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 blah. But he seems like if you get him upset, he'll cut your face off. Guys like that are the scariest guys.
Yeah, same thing. I have similar stories about New Jack. Pro wrestling and club shows. And he would come, we'd all be, I get there early that's back in my tape trading days. That's the best, where you get the best, DVDs. They put them out early, the old Georgia Championship Wrestling stuff. And he would put his bag full of chains and weapons and everything like that right on the table with the DVDs. And he looked over my shoulder and goes, yeah, that's a good one. I said, because we were looking at the Freebirds, Tommy Richie, and he goes, yeah, that's some good shit right there. I said, yeah, I was going to get it. He said, yeah, you should. I was like, thank you. And that same day, that was when he, pulled out the shopping cart. And, this was a Pro Wrestling Unplugged show. This was years after ECW. But he's still a guy that, I'm not going to engage you in conversation because I have no idea what was going to be. Because the very next card he was at, he was scheduled to be in the main event, and they had to redo the show because he got into a fight with the concession people because he asked for a 7-Up and they gave him a Sprite or Sprite or 7-Up, either one. But he got in a fight, and it's during while the matches were going on. And we kept doing this because we heard everyone yelling in the back of the arena where the concession stands were in the ECW arena. And so, oh yeah, New Jack, he left, so we don't have a main event. So we have to do something else. So, well, what happened? So now he asked for a Sprite, and somebody gave him a 7-Up.
See?
Yep.
Those hair trigger guys, you got to be careful.
That's the same response with someone. I asked for a Barks root beer, and someone gives me an A&W. I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Right words. Yeah, that's Chatter. I kill you. So you want to do Hulk Hogan next, or you want to do Raw?
I guess that gives it away.
No. Well, Scott, I know you didn't hear the story about Hogan making kids cry. But
yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave this up because it's gonna lead into this. Thank you, Segway King. Yes. So apparently there's. You mentioned Hogan made a bunch of kids cry. What?
Yes, there's video footage of it online.
I was gonna say some videos because I'm looking it up now.
In upstate New York, I forget what town, he was doing a signing for his shitty beer, and apparently there were 200 people there who came to see Hogan with their children.
Oh my god!
If you have a child and they're Hulk Hogan fans in 2025, you've failed as a parent.
Yeah.
But he left after 100 people, and he left people crying. They were on the news. One of the little kids said Hulk Hogan's a terrible person, and like it's just he broke people's hearts, and they're all saying he's terrible. I'm not a fan of his anymore.
Oh, it was a ShopRite. Well, there you go. That's why. No, I'm kidding.
The thing was, just to jump in here, Derek, the person who made the complaint and who made the videos with his kids, he was told, and they were all told, that Hogan was only going to sign for the first 200 people.
Yes.
And he was like 185 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So when Hogan got to 100, he left.
He just got out of there.
Yeah.
And he was late.
And yeah.
Oh.
And yeah.
You can't. Okay.
And again, you see Jimmy Hart there. Try not to get any.
Poor Jimmy.
Poor
Jimmy, dude. Oh, come on, dude.
It's bad. And the little kid was like heartbroken. He was like, "How could he do this to us?" And I was just like, "Kid,
Well, kid, have a seat. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. Let's have a chat." Listen, I understand being a fan of Hulk Hogan, being a wrestling fan. I get it. I get that some people can separate the art from the artist. I can't do that, but I'm not going to shit on America first. I'm going to punch his face. I get that. But then I see stuff like this, and I'm like, maybe they're just pieces of shit that are fans of him. That the joke is the Bill Hicks joke: the people who hate people party. Nobody comes because I hate people. Well, when are you going to be there? I'm not coming if you're going to be there. I hate you. You know, that kind of thing. I think it's just that. I think that's a parody of terrible people doing terrible. I just think you're made for each other.
Yeah.
So if you're following America First still, that's it. I hope we didn't lose him for good.
And you have to understand the people that are still fans of Hulk Hogan, just like you saw the people in line in that brief clip, are all my age, are all in the upper 50s. All remember Hogan from the 80s.
Old motherfuckers.
Exactly. In the 40s, they remember, at the beginning of Hulkamania. It's not one in the 90s. I mean, you're not going to see any NWO shirts there. You're going to see the people that remember, the 80s Hogan, the red and yellow, morons.
Yeah. Idiots.
The point I was making is there are people who don't know that part of it.
Yeah.
But if you do, if you know that part of it, and when I say that part of it, I'm not even getting into the stuff from the last 20 years. I'm talking about that rat motherfucker in wrestling at the height of his power. That guy. The guy who canceled Berlin because he was the only thing getting over on TV at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that was canceling Scott Steiner going over because he didn't like it. That guy. If you're still a fan of him and you're a wrestling guy, I mean, more power to you, but brother.
Yeah, brother.
I can't. I say that very sarcastically. I can't get behind that. I can't. And speaking of Mr. Steiner, There's two things. I'm stalling for time to get Derek back on here. There's two things. One, who knew that? Oh, and I wanted to address. Misty said Homicide looks insane. I was gonna bring up Homicide. Believe it or not, Homicide is one of the nicest, coolest guys I've ever met. Still wouldn't fuck with him.
No.
No way. No way. So Steiner did an interview with what's his name? Chris Van de Vee?
Chris Van Bleu. Chris Van Bleu.
Hey, look, Chris Van Bleu.
That's what MJF calls him. Chris Van Bleu.
Chris Van Bleu, what's going on? I have to watch the whole interview. It was an hour and 18 minutes. I tell you what, there is a man who hates doing interviews. The interview was great. There's nothing wrong with the interview. There was nothing wrong with him. He didn't do anything wrong. Nothing like that. I could just tell he's just not a nervous guy, but like I mentioned earlier in this episode, a wrestling character. A wrestling character is an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
But when you have to not act, Kelly and I were watching it, the part of the interview, the Hulk Hogan part with Scott, and Kelly and I were talking about it. There's a man who's not acting right now, and you can tell he's not nervous, but he's not in his skin, right? But the interview was great, and I could just tell he doesn't like to. That's why he doesn't do a lot of them. Because you do have moments of him going, like right at the beginning of that one clip is like one of the greatest tag teams. He's like, you say greatest? But my respect level and it's not even going to the Hogan thing. It was contained within, because I purposely go out of my way to mention Hogan being a rat and why I don't like him and want him nothing to do with wrestling, not even getting to and adding on the racist Bubba Love Sponge rapper dating his daughter, girlfriend shit. You add that on. I didn't even get that far. I'm just talking about the union and the creative control rat bullshit he used to do. But Steiner, or Mr. Rex Steiner, brought it up himself.
Yeah.
One of the things struck me. He goes, that racist bullshit he did. I was like, excuse me?
And he goes, and he was like, he said, which he said it in a roundabout Scott Steiner way, but he goes, that's the thing. Like, he goes, you never know with these guys. He goes, if it was never recorded, we would have never heard it.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Because I judge a book by its cover, because I was like, I just assume, and not that he's loud and proud and a douchebag, but Scott's done a very good job. Mr. Rex Steiner, sir. Don't hurt me.
Sir.
He's done an excellent job of keeping his persona front and out there. He's Big Poppa Pump.
Yes. Big bad booty daddy.
The big bad booty daddy. I'm not messing with this guy, and I'm not playing the audio because I don't want to play any of the audio. I want people to go to the Chris Van Bleu YouTube page or his CVV Clips YouTube page and watch the whole interview in clips. Or I have to subscribe. I forgot. Great interviewer, and he gets to Hulk Hogan, and my favorite part, he asks, well, why did Hulk Hogan? Because like it was right after he turned heel. Like that was a big. You and I all three of us remember him turning heel. Already in '98, it was a 15-year run of the Steiners being one of the greatest, if not the best tag team. Please don't hurt me, Scott. In wrestling, and then he turns heel. He backstabs him at Super Bowl '98, and Big Poppa Pump is born. Thus, Big Poppa Pump was born, which also gave Lex Luger his best, most making sense interview ever before and since he ever did. Was Lex Luger that night on Nitro? The next night, the next week, calling Scott Steiner out was the most coherent thing he's ever said. Which is a little sidebar. But he said that he was going to be put over on his first match back, being the bad guy, and Hogan decided to exit. And when he was asked why, and you hear him go, well, because Hulk Hogan's a motherfucker.
He set him off. Yeah. Why do you think? Is he the reason?
And I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's it.
It's
all
nice
it took.
to see. It's nice in the face of Twitter people going, you don't know shit about what you're talking about. He's a hero, blah, blah. To hear another wrestler go, because he's a fucking asshole. That's why. And I'm like, thank you. Because I'm still bitter about Starrcade 97. And everybody's like, well, it's Sting's fault. He was out of shape. No, fuckhead pulled his card right before the match. And then if I was Sting, I'd be like, fuck, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
All Nick Patrick had to do was count 3 fast and save it.
That's it. And that interview with Scott, he said another thing. He goes, and then I remember Chris was like, well, how bad was it with Hogan? He goes, there'd be times where he'd show up late to the building and they wouldn't finalize the show until Hulk came in and looked the card up and down and gave the okay for stuff he had nothing to do with.
Yeah. So. Well, it goes back to what Nash said a long time ago. Having a wrestler having creative control is never a good idea. It's bad.
Everybody would shit on Bret Hart about him always talking shit on Hogan. Not everybody. Hogan fans would talk shit on because everybody's like, yeah, Bret Hart's right. Creative control. And then Bischoff and him going, well, that's not how it works. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Yeah. If all the wrestlers are saying, we waited for Hulk Hogan to make a decision, but Bischoff's like, no, he didn't. I'm starting to think Bischoff's lying.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that when Bret was coming in as the hottest thing in wrestling, you can't tell me it wasn't Hulk Hogan's idea to go have him stand next to me in the NWO instead of me and him wrestle. You can't tell me Hulk didn't say that.
You can't tell me it wasn't Hogan's idea to have him be a referee for the biggest match of the year. If Bret had any type of flex or creative control, make it a triple threat. Hey,
and it wasn't even for this match. He was only the referee for Bischoff and Zbyszko.
Yeah.
And he undercut run to the ring later.
Yeah.
He undercut Sting and Bret in less than 5 minutes in that Starrcade match.
He did.
Both of them looked like idiots. It took 5 minutes.
One show in DC, one Starrcade. Again, my favorite thing is to go look at Starrcade 93, look at the main event, then look at Starrcade 94, and look at that main event. You tell me.
The Hogan effect. And speaking of Hogan, we mentioned the last time we were on. Well, Hogan's a motherfucker. That's first of all. The fact that Scott Steiner just validating everything that real fans have known for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
But we were talking the last time we were together about the heel turn, which had a bigger impact, Hogan or Cena. Well, yesterday, as we're recording this, is the first time we heard Cena's interview or Cena's promo, his heel promo. Hogan's was fresh, right in the ring with Mean Gene and Hall and Nash and thousands of angry fans pelting with garbage. This is John Cena overseas in Belgium. His first appearance as a heel in almost 25 years. No Mean Gene, just him and a microphone. 3 minutes and 48 seconds of solid booing.
Awesome.
Straight heat. And John Cena delivers his promo.
No, Derek was watching. I had no idea it was on early because I forgot it was in Belgium.
Derek reminded me. Thank you, D.
Yeah. And once you said it, I was like, oh, shit. Let me hop on. And I had to go back and go to the socials to watch that promo. There's no exaggeration. That was fucking fantastic. I did not expect that. I love that I love it. You're not getting new music. You're not getting a new outfit. You're not getting shit. It's all your fault.
That was the best. Yeah.
That was blame everybody else but you. A nice little microcosm of the internet live in your face. And it's heel John Cena. And that crowd ate that up.
Oh, it's amazing.
The moment that man walked out there, the hair on my neck stood up again. I was like, this is great. You know what? I'll say this. I've changed my mind. I want him to go out of heel. Don't turn it back. Don't cheer. Just go out of heel. After that, yeah.
It was good. And he didn't yell, he didn't scream. Like you said, my favorite part is he was like, I'm not changing my music because that's my voice on that song. He goes, "That is my music. These are my colors, and you all don't appreciate it."
Yeah.
And I was just
You
like,
all dressed like yeah. It was great. You
yeah,
all me. I didn't dress like any of you guys.
oh, it was so good. And then he goes, I'm not a heel, I'm not a baby face, I'm a union. I'm a human, and my feelings are hurt. So simple. So simple. And then they cut to the kid who's dressed like Cena, and he's just sad, like Cena killed his dog, and he's just sitting there looking. Everything, even Cody even held his own. Even I thought Cody was going to come out and he was going to outshine Cody. Cody held his own. It was great. And the best part is he still hasn't explained why he sold his soul to The Rock.
Nope.
He still hasn't explained why he stood next to The Rock, and like there's more layers to be peeled off, and we have what, 6 weeks left. So at this point, it can only get better.
I never saw that picture.
That's what I was looking for, man. The little girl with the American Nightmare shirt on, watching Raw while Cena's in the ring, cutting that promo, just flipping him off. No,
Awesome.
we're not
That's
bashing
what it's
Cena. No.
No.
Balthazar, we're not bashing Cena. We're just talking about his heel turn and how awesome that heel turn was. We are not bashing him. We're just talking about fan reaction. Balthazar, balling Balthazar. That is hard for me and my big fucking lips to say. Sorry. It's not hard. It's just me going, as watching on Kick, and we're not bashing Cena. We're just talking to him.
No.
Just what a great promo it was, and kids' reaction. And that picture, I don't think this kid is like 9 years old and just
filled with hate.
Him off.
Just filled with hate.
That's good parenting right there.
Yeah.
And we're not bashing. We're talking about John Cena's heel promo because I think this is probably the most anticipated one, most anticipated promo in recent memory, because what was he going to say and how was he going to say it, and the fact that he came off just like what Cody called as a crybaby. You all let me down. You all bullied me. He's the victim in all this. That's classic 101 heel shit. I didn't change. You all changed. It's your fault. That's heel 101 shit.
That's also narcissism 101.
It was all, and then Cody calls him a bitch, and John just looks down. He picks up his towel that says "Never gives up." He looks at it, and he walks out with his head down.
Yeah, and he didn't throw that towel to the crowd.
Yeah.
The last time I saw Cena get heat like this was, and you remember, D, and you remember too, Dan, in your hometown, D, when he came the ECW pay-per-view against RVD.
One of the greatest heel performances ever. Because I always tell people go, how can you say he was a heel there? I was like, because he didn't change anything, and people hated it. That's what made it great.
And that was the greatest entrance, D, when he came in with the belt. Walked in with the belt over, took off his shirt, threw it to the crowd threw it back 3 times.
Yes.
Also, when he went up against Punk in Chicago, when Punk won the title before he left the first time, that was also Cena, again, not being a heel, but getting a heel reaction.
Yeah.
This was John Cena being a heel. This wasn't just in Belgium. If he had come out in Tuna Fish, Wyoming, he would have been booed. Like, those other times, he was just in enemy territory. In the arena, he was going to get booed. In Chicago, he was going to get booed. Somebody likened this to the first time Dusty wrestled in Philadelphia. He was so concerned because, Dusty in Philly, it's the first time Dusty wrestled in Philly. And the American Dream stuff may flies well in the South, but up here it's a little different. So he teamed with the Road Warriors. And he, first time in Philly, came out with the Road Warriors against the Horse, came out with the paint on his face.
Oh, that's what that was in Philly. Oh, okay, I've seen that picture.
First time Dusty ever wrestled in Philly, because he didn't know what kind of reaction he would get just being Dusty.
Yeah.
Even though he'd wrestled in the Spectrum, and that was in '78. That was against Superstar. So of course he was he was the biggest babyface in the country. But coming in 85, 86, coming to Philly, he dressed up like the Road Warriors. And after that, he was cool. After that, then he could be Dusty. But yeah, but this Cena promo was was something to behold. Did a great job.
Yeah, I was telling my son, I said, look, you better appreciate Cena, Orton, Punk, and Mysterio, because when those four are gone,
Yes.
that's it. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to have to, I don't know, I guess Roman, but Roman doesn't have that much left. But those four guys, they're the last of a dying breed. I guess you could say Edge too, but we see what Edge is doing over in the other company. So, but yeah, they're the last of a dying breed.
Mysterio definitely, because I have to remind folks, or people that don't know, Rey Mysterio is 50 years old.
Hmm.
Not only is he 50 years old and still got it, because you saw his match, his tag team match with Dragon Lee, and you see how he can still go. Running.
Yeah.
He's had reconstructive surgeries on both knees twice.
Hmm.
He's 50 and he's been wrestling for 36 years. He's been wrestling longer than most of his opponents have been alive. He was bringing his homework to wrestling bouts and doing his homework before he wrestled professionally at age 14. That's something you're never going to see again.
No. And everybody respects him, and I still feel like it's not enough. Like he's still, I don't think, like, for if we have any younger viewers out there, when he showed up to ECW, it was like nothing. I think I watched it like 1 o'clock in the morning on the MSG network here in New York. It's like nothing I had ever seen before. And he looked like he was 10 years old. That's what made it even crazier. And then he goes to WCW and he still looks 10, and he's tearing it up with Dean Malenko and Hoovy and Psychosis. Like he definitely changed the American wrestling scene when he came here. And what was that, 95, 96?
95, 96. I also want to point out and just give a shout out to the LWO, which has been active now in the WWE about 3 times longer than ever was in the WCW.
That is true. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. And not only that, like, I just see the shirts everywhere. Not as much as NWO shirts, but I just love that that's still rolling.
Yeah.
Like even if it might be just before an afterthought, I love seeing them all come out with the LWO shirts.
Yeah.
Long live Eddie Guerrero, motherfucker. Long live Eddie Guerrero.
Damn it. Yeah.
Love it.
That's Ray's idea, and the fact that it still has legs. And
even if they've been operated on a couple times, it still has legs. Hey.
Yeah. And I love that Dom has embraced like the sleazy Eddie. So like he had the Latino Heat shirt on last night. So I love that both of them in their own ways are keeping Eddie alive after all these years.
And if you see a closer look at Dom's attire, it's all a tribute to all the luchadors that came before him, because his fringes were, I think, for El Santo. He's got something else for Psychosis, and he something else from Juventud. But all of his the tattoos that he has and his ring attire is all a tribute to all the luchadors that came before him. Because you mentioned seeing Rey Mysterio in ECW for the first time, and that was the first time East Coast audiences got to see, because when Paulie saw, they were selling out the Los Angeles Sports Arena in AAA, and when there was any wrestling organizations in the United States drawing dick in '94, they were selling out in LA and in Mexico because of Ray and Psychosis. And Ray even said it in his Hall of Fame speech. He thanked a lot of people, and obviously a lot of people helped him. Conan inducted him, and Eddie and Dean Malenko. But he made a point to say, and this is a God's honest truth, if there was, without Psychosis, there would be no Rey Mysterio. You can make a case. Ric Flair was still going to be Ric Flair if he never wrestled Rick Steamboat. Bret Hart was going to be Bret Hart if he never wrestled Shawn Michaels. But Rey Mysterio without Psychosis,
yes,
not happening.
Was Ray, because I always forget, was he was on the Worlds Collide card, right?
Yes. That was his first pay-per-view. That was the first time any United States audience had seen him. And Eddie's too. That was Eddie's first time, Juventude's, all of them. I will still maintain that maybe the greatest pay-per-view, one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time, card for card. Match for match.
That Los Gringos match versus Pentagon, and I forgot who his partner was. and the mask versus him. That's one of my favorite matches of all time. I think I watch that match at least 3 times a year.
Well, that's what put them on the map. That's what made all, and that was the first. That was the first pay-per-view that wasn't WCW or WWE, and ECW hadn't had it yet. So when Worlds Collide was a groundbreaking, because it wasn't AWA either. This was a AAA. Chris Cruz was the one of the announcers, but this was the first time American audience had seen these guys at all. And one of the tapes I was trying to get when New Jack put his bag on my stuff was on the Worlds Collide, because it was such a big deal. And if you didn't have cable or didn't buy it, you heard everybody talking about it the next day. But yeah, put everyone on the map. But when Worlds Collide, kids, do your homework. HIAC.
Oh, it's amazing.
Audiences. The whole thing.
I remember being a kid, and I remembered Eddie because their gear, red, white, and blue, all the stuff. I remember he showed up in ECW with the gear on. I was like, oh, it's the guy from Worlds Collide. And obviously, and I was like, where's his partner? And obviously, our bar had died right before they were supposed to go to ECW. But yeah, then Eddie, he goes from this tag team guy, and then he's having these amazing matches with Dean Malenko in ECW. And then before you know it, he's in WCW having amazing matches. But yeah, it all starts from that Worlds Collide pay-per-view. That was the boom for them guys.
Yeah, put everything on the map. And sadly enough, Derek, that would be Art Barr's last match ever.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I thought he had a couple more. Wow.
No, that was his last match. Louis Spicoli right there.
There, I was gonna say, little Louis.
Madonna's boyfriend.
Madonna's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Greatest wrestling name ever, Madonna's boyfriend.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch this after it's over. I don't think I've seen the whole show. This
I
is
love that show.
That looks like a VHS rip. Speaking of pay-per-view and YouTube, I do want to mention this. Do we think, because my wife was saying, Kelly was saying this, do we think that all Nitros and Thunders and all the WCW and WWF stuff's eventually going to just be all up on YouTube? Because that's what it looks like they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I've been watching the Nitros in order that they put them up there, so I think so.
Hold on, wait.
You just woke up, Amber.
Sorry, Amber. I'm down because, like, what if they start charging the $5.90? Okay.
It's worth it.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this. I'm just ripping it from YouTube and gonna burn it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my own covers, print them out at the Walmart, and have them all on the shelves. I don't give a shit.
It's funny. I was watching one of the Nitros the other night, and Tamara, she knows Booker T, but she knows him as, King Booker, blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
So it was the episode of Nitro where they lost to the American Males, Harlem Heat. They, they beat up the Blue Bloods on the way to the ring, and they came out and they just had an impromptu match with the American Males. But Booker gets in the ring, and I think we said this before on the last show, he was all over the place. Yeah. He was throwing side kicks. He was throwing bagwelling rigs. He was doing everything. And she's like, who are those big black guys? I'm like, that's Stevie Ray. And then Booker T, she goes, is that Booker T? And I was like, yeah. She was like, he's somehow bigger and faster than what I remember. I'm like, yeah, that's young Booker T that they kept in the tag team for extra 5 years.
I was going to say, that's little Booker T when he could move. That's before 3 knee surgeries. That's not a commentary on Booker T. That's just the miles. And I pulled that picture up because some of my favorite matches. Derek, you still there? Oh, darn. Some of my favorite matches are Booker T and Brett.
Yeah, and some of Brett.
Those two were just great.
Yeah.
Not that Brett wasn't great with everyone, but not everyone was great with Brett.
Yeah, and Brett would say that for Brett to praise anyone, because Brett didn't praise a lot of people because he made everyone look good, but he'd single out special people like Steve, like Austin, obviously, and Kurt Hennig and Booker T. That again, he doesn't praise a lot of people because he made everyone look good, but he mentioned Booker T quite a bit. Booker T.
They were really going to try to run them as chained up slaves, huh?
Well, that's how they were introduced by Colonel Robert Parker when they were Kane and Cole. But Booker T, also another segue, recently voted by BET as the greatest black wrestler ever.
Really?
Did you see that list?
No, let me look. I'm going to bring this list up. Booker T. Wait, greatest greatest
Black
black wrestler, BET.
ever. And look at that list, which is complete and utter horseshit, aside from 3 names.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna go. All right, so 15 best black pro wrestlers. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say.
But read the list. Look at the list.
Number 15 is Jazz. Number 14, Shelton Benjamin. Here, Number 13, Naomi. Number 12, Jacqueline, Miss Jackie. Number 11, Big E.
Are you serious?
Number 10, Devon.
Really?
Really? No disrespect, but really? Number 9, Bianca Belair. Okay. Number 8, Bobby Lashley.
I would put him in the top 15 of all time, yeah.
Ron Simmons, sure. Junkyard. Well, I have a higher opinion of Junkyard Wrestling than you do. What?
The Junkyard, if you're picking the top 15 black wrestlers of all time, yeah, Junkyard Dog would be on there.
Okay, good. Yeah. Big Daddy Ritter. Sasha Banks. I would make an argument that yes. I would make an argument, yes. Mark Henry, yeah. Yeah, no? You don't think so?
Yeah, no, there's a kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston, top 20. This is hard for me to comment because I'm the palest motherfucker on the show.
No, but
The Rock and number 1, Booker T. Well, do you put Booker T on top just based on his accolades?
you could put him on near the top based on his accolades, but if we're talking wrestling, and my beef is with the person making the list because they obviously are of a certain age, or they were born.
Oh, sure. This would be. I can fix the list. 15 greatest black wrestlers, the last of the 21st century.
Fine. Yes. Then that would make sense. But
I just fixed it. As the token white dude, I love saying that. It makes me chuckle.
I'm gonna get you a shirt that says "Token White Guy."
Token white dude, please do. But just have you two on the front, on the back of it.
But I mean, if we're talking, then make that the caveat because we're talking ever, and those
Talking ever, I can think of about 6 guys you would mention.
Thunderbolt Patterson, but there's no Ernie Ladd.
Ernie Ladd, Thunderbolt
Patterson,
Rocky Johnson,
Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas. Wait, come on, give me a chance to be not white here. Chief.
No, he's not black.
Not okay. Well, I was thinking not white. So this is why the white guy shuts up. Go ahead.
But just giving those guys what they meant historically, they should be on the list.
Yeah, and if we're talking historically, Bearcat Wright from 1960 to 1963 was one of the biggest outside of Buddy Rogers, the biggest box office attraction there was.
Was Bobo Brazil on the list?
No.
Okay, see.
No, but thankfully Coco Beware is not on this list.
I would put Coco Beware on the list of the greatest black wrestlers of all time before I'd ever put Devon or Kofi Kingston on that list.
Yeah, Devon, and God bless Devon.
Oh yeah, let me read the list. You're back, so let me read the list. Jazz 15. This is from 15 to 1. Jazz, Shelton Benjamin. Let me just say Shelton Benjamin is top 5. Fuck you.
Yes.
Yes.
Naomi, Miss Jacqueline, Big E, Devon. Okay, I don't get Devon. Bianca Belair, Bobby Lashley, Ron Simmons, Junkyard Dog, Sasha Banks, Mark Henry, Kofi, Rock, Booker. 1 to 15.
And I love Kofi, and Kofi Mania was a moment in time.
But it was just a moment in time.
And I think Kofi would say he doesn't belong on those lists before any of those guys you named.
No.
Absolutely would.
No.
I have
would
a
also
problem.
say the same.
Yeah.
I have a huge problem as the Caucasian guy here. Why is Shelton so low?
Yeah, I would agree. I would put him over Kofi.
Oh, and just to be the uppity wrestling fan, why is Jazz so low?
Yes, for what she did, and Miss Jackie for that matter.
Yeah.
I would watch her beating the shit out of Disco Inferno on repeat until my breath. In fact, if you guys are there, and I'll tell my wife this as well, when I'm dying, I want that on repeat. I want to die watching Jackie throw that cracker around like he's a rag doll. because I
best
enjoy it
part-
so much.
The best part is Dusty like marking out on commentary. She body slammed him. She body slammed him.
Oh, it's so funny. And it's so funny to go back and watch those Nitros. I think I put on the second one. The opening match was Alex Wright and Disco. Just a sidetrack for a second. And just watching those two wrestle and know which one should be in the ring and which one shouldn't. It gets
It's a lot
more
of things on that
obvious
show.
it's more obvious as you get older. Like, why the fuck is Glenn here?
There's a lot of things on that show. I was watching one last night, to get off topic, where somebody attacked Hogan and they didn't know who it was. And they were talking to Macho Man about it. And Lex Luger came out and he was accusing Macho of doing it. And they wanted them to like act like they had tension. So afterwards, Mean Gene's like, we gotta go. And Macho wanted Lex to like seem like he wanted to fight, and Lex is being too cool for school. So Macho bounces off the rope and he phantoms a punch at Lex, and Lex laughs at Macho. And you could tell that pissed Macho's eyes got real big. And he takes his hand and he just slaps Lex Luger in the face. And Lex didn't know what to
Wake
do.
up, brother!
And I was like, Macho Man is a nut. But to get back to the list, if you had to put Kofi and Biggie on the list, you put them in as a group. Because
Well, the thing is about this list, Derek, is we were talking about the person who made it. Obviously, is of a certain age. Are we talking talent? Are we talking impact? Are we talking like achievement? Because Junkyard Dog would be at or near the top as far as popularity and ticket selling, and Rock would be, and obviously Rock.
Yeah,
Bernie
Rock, right? Yeah.
There wouldn't be the type of big men that there are, not only heels in the ring, but being a top guy in every territory, booking the top territories everywhere, and drawing money. And if gimmicks aside, if we're talking about drawing money for black wrestlers, Kamala has got to be on that, because again, terrible gimmick, racist, what have you. Kamala drew money. Drew money everywhere you wrestled, even in the biggest company on earth, the WWE. And you could take a territory gimmick that started in Tennessee and just stayed in the Southern Territory, and you take it to the WWF and still draw.
And what number was Ron Simmons again, Dan?
Oh shit! I got off the list. Hold on.
I think he was like 8, right?
I want to think he was 7 or 8, which is
why.
And if you talk to everybody on that list, they will speak about Ron Simmons like he's a god.
Yeah.
And they would put him on 2, if not 1. Ron is 7.
Yeah.
Right. One step below Junkyard Dog. And I think, I do think Sasha Banks makes an all-time list of black wrestlers. I do. And I would put Kofi on there if anybody asked me, and you didn't, but I'm going to say, I would put Kofi on there, not that high.
No.
Of all time, but I'm talking about like an all-time list that goes past 15.
Yeah, 15 is such a weird number.
Not the last 20 years. There's something weird about. Let me look at. So Booker T and Ron Simmons, Junkyard Dog. So Junkyard Dog is the oldest. Why did you include all and then Junkyard Dog is what I'm confused about?
Because it shows you the popularity of Junkyard Dog. That even someone born in the 90s still knows how great Junkyard Dog is because of his legacy and how, it's how popular he still is, and he cast a long shadow. But why not have the? Go ahead.
I was gonna say you could argue Bad News Brown says Allen should be on there.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of names.
I'm not gonna argue he should be on there.
Yeah, they're omitting, and 15, like I said, 15 is such a weird number because if you take like the Sashas and the Biancas and the Kofis, I understand, but they shouldn't be rated higher than a lot of those names. And God bless Devon. If they're gonna put a list, Devon's on it. I'm not sure if he's in the top 15.
God, all respect to Devon. I think he would agree as a single wrestler.
No.
No.
Now, I don't mean to cut us all off, but I know, speaking about hard, you got a hard out. So we got to say goodbye. Derek, you can't be followed on social media because you're smart. Craig, where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, on Threads, at Craig Ligon, CraigLiGons.
And follow me everywhere on all social media platforms, making fun of people who are wrestling that are bad, and the injustices being a cracker. DanLaw83. I'm kidding. Follow me at DanLaw83. I make cool stuff. Keep it in the ring. No, I've changed my mind. Keep it on the paper. We end with a moment of silence. Good night, everyone.